Okie dokie, it's time for a very exciting weapon in the game. It's a weapon that was brought about with the KUVA Lich changes, so it is of course one of the new KUVA Lich weapons. It is the KUVA BRAMMA. The KUVA BRAMMA is going to be the first and so far only compound bow in the game, which is very, very exciting for me, an archery fetish aficionado. So, it is a very, very powerful weapon. And that heavy gunner is not dead yet. Interesting. But that heavy gunner is dead now. Sweet. And we're going to also use a different build so that there's a little bit of variety. There are two ways, and possibly more, obviously, that you could build your KUVA BRAMMA depending on what you want to do. This weapon, of course, being a KUVA weapon, does give you a lot of leeway with that rank 40 so that you can build it however you want. As you can see, against those level 100 corrupted heavy gunners, not as strong as a gas build, but it's still pretty damn strong. So let's have a look at the builds themselves. The first one, which was the second test, is the crit build. This is a very simple 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and honestly this one as well, being Hush, should be really, really self-explanatory. And this is actually a flex mod. You can use whatever you want. If you want to use something like Hunter Munitions, then you might have a much better time than we had just then. So here we are. Obviously the slash blocks are going to be pretty damn strong, and that's what you get with Hunter Munitions. But of course, that's always what you get with Hunter Munitions. So Hunter Munitions is in fact a very, very strong mod. But I think having that faster reload speed is going to be a little bit better in general combat, and if I want to use something with 100 munitions, I could always use Artemis Bow. The alternative is a crit stat hybrid, which is basically a similar looking build where you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pretty self-explanatory mods. Hush again, because I'm Ivara. And we're also going to be using Infected Clip, Magnetic Force, and Thermite rounds, because again, if you want to do gas damage, you want to maximize the amount of gas damage, you maximize the amount of toxin damage that you have first, because that's going to give you as much damage as you can when it comes to the actual ticks. Now, the reason why a weapon like this actually works really, really well with a crit stat hybrid or even a full status build, but I probably don't want to recommend that, is simply because this weapon has its status chance tied to not just the arrows themselves, but also the little bomblets and the little explosive bombs that come from the explosion. So those things that land on the ground, they also have a status chance of themselves. It probably works in much the same way to a shotgun. So typically you want to go for 100% status chance, but I don't think that's necessary, as we have demonstrated in our demonstrations. Cool beans. So, when we are standing on a dash wire with empowered quiver, obviously things are going to get even better. Just like that. And when we use the crit build, it's going to obviously require a bit more firing, but that's fine. As you can see, we can still brute force our way through our corrupted heavy gunner enemy, so that is really, really strong. Now, there's a couple of visual things that I want to point out about the KUVA BRAMMA, and the first thing is a wheel on the bottom of the bow. This is very unusual. It's not something that exists in any of the other bows in the game. And secondly, when you draw the arrow back, you may notice that... what the hell? You may notice that the string kind of snaps back. This is not something that happens with any of the other bows. So you take, for example, the Artemis bow, string draws back in a smoother motion. And it's because of that that I can pretty much say that the KUVA BRAMMA is the first and currently only compound bow. Having wheels and having a string that really snaps back when you finish drawing it, these are characteristics of a compound bow as opposed to a recurve bow. Now, one thing I want to note about this weapon, actually there's two things worth noting. The first thing is that you can actually detonate your arrows early by hitting the middle mouse button. So for example, you shoot it out, middle mouse, middle mouse, middle mouse. So essentially you can make him explode a little bit earlier if you want. If, for example, you shoot above a group of enemies, that's going to be really, really powerful. So, for example, we're going to shoot over, 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 just like that. So if we were to shoot and just leave it alone, it would have landed all the way at the back, and that would have probably ended up being a miss, which is going to be really, really problematic. Also, real quick side note, I probably recommend against using arrow skins for the KUVA BRAMMA. So here we have the KUVA BRAMMA with the Katia skin. As you can already see, the Katia skin is actually sort of popped into my shoulder, and that's no good. And when you draw it out, that does look very wrong indeed. Instead, we're going to just stick to using the base skin for the arrows, because that seems to work pretty well. Get yourself a nice, lovely, long arrow. I wonder if this is actually the case with any of the other arrows. Yeah, see, notice how that arrow pops into the shoulder, like so, but if you use the normal arrow, everything is hunky-dory. And thus, when we pull our bow back, that is what is supposed to more or less look like. Finally, we're going to go up against some level 135 corrupted heavy gunners. Going to require a few more arrows than before because again they're level 135. Probably why you want to use hunter munitions at that point. So naturally you probably want to use something like the gas build. So that is the power of the KUVA BRAMMA. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments below. Do you have a particular way that you play with the bow? Do you have a particular build that you use? Let me know in the comments. Otherwise, if you like this video, hit that like button, subscribe for more WarFrame content, and until next time, I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching. Bye.